Flying Scotsman. No other name in the annals of British steam conjures quite the same magic. Born at Doncaster Works in 1923 to the elegant, purposeful design of Sir Nigel Gresley, the locomotive numbered 4472 became not just a marvel of engineering, but a symbol of British pride, power, and progress. She began her working life hauling express passenger services for the newly formed London and North Eastern Railway, and in February 1924 she was christened with a name that would echo down the decades, the Flying Scotsman. Fitting, really, as she would go on to haul the legendary non-stop service between London King's Cross and Edinburgh Waverley, a distance of 392 miles. When 4472 did it for the first time on 1st May 1928, it was a marvel, completing the journey in just over 8 hours without changing locomotives or stopping for water, thanks to a corridor tender that allowed crews to change on the move. This tender alone is worth a moment of our attention. Designed with a gangway connection, it allowed driver and fireman swaps without halting the train, a revolutionary idea in its day. It wasn't just a feat of mechanical endurance, it was a perfectly orchestrated ballet of motion, timing, and grit. In 1934, Flying Scotsman etched her name into the history books by becoming the first steam locomotive to officially hit 100 miles per hour. The LNER made much of it at the time, proudly promoting the speed and strength of their flagship engine. This moment, captured in grainy black and white, would fuel the legend for generations to come. Through the years, she evolved, modified into an A3 in 1947, fitted with higher pressure boilers and better cylinders, and then joining British Railways in 1948, renumbered as 60103. She wore several liveries through her life: the LNER's striking apple green, BR's express blue, and finally BR Brunswick green, each with its own character, each a chapter in her story. Yet it wasn't all glamour. During the Second World War, like all engines, she donned an austere wartime black livery and quietly got on with the job of moving troops and supplies, a steel workhorse in Britain's hour of need. But steam's reign was drawing to a close. By the early 1960s, diesel and electric traction had taken over the rails. And in 1963, after covering more than 2 million miles in service, Flying Scotsman was withdrawn from BR. But her story was far from over. Enter Alan Pegler, a visionary businessman and lifelong rail enthusiast who saw the value in preserving this icon. He bought the Flying Scotsman for £3,500 and restored her to her LNER glory. In 1968, the same year steam officially ended on British Railways, she ran a non-stop commemorative run from London to Edinburgh, a poignant farewell to an era. Pegler's love for Flying Scotsman wasn't just nostalgic, it was evangelistic. He wanted the world to see what Britain had achieved in steam. And so came the Great American Tour. Pegler took the Scotsman across the Atlantic on an ambitious and, ultimately, financially ruinous journey. Though she ran in Boston, Atlanta and San Francisco, red tape, high costs, and regulation woes nearly spelled disaster. Pegler went bankrupt, and the Scotsman languished in storage. It was Sir William McAlpine who rescued her next, bringing her home in 1973. Under his ownership, she toured Britain extensively, becoming the first preserved steam loco to haul the Royal Train, and even broke new ground again, travelling to Australia in 1988 for the bicentennial celebrations. Australia saw Flying Scotsman at her most epic. She became the first steam loco to run non-stop for 422 miles and journeyed coast to coast through Alice Springs and the vast Australian outback, a reminder of her unmatched stamina and spirit. The image of her crossing the red centre of Australia is one few forget. She was also reunited with GWR Pendennis Castle, the two stars of the 1924 British Empire exhibition, now on the opposite side of the world, side by side again. Ownership passed on again in 1996, this time to Tony Marchington, who spent over £1 million on a thorough overhaul and returned her to mainline service. But again, financial issues plagued her, and in 2004 the National Railway Museum stepped in, launching a public appeal to save her for the nation. What followed was the most exhaustive restoration in preservation history. Originally meant to cost £750,000 and take a year, it ballooned to over £4 million and took a decade. A cracked frame here, a misaligned horn block there. Almost every part needed attention. But the result? In 2016, Flying Scotsman triumphantly returned to the mainline, gleaming in her 1963 BR livery, roaring back to life. She steamed out of York and down the East Coast mainline once more, crowds lining the bridges, platforms and fields, many of them waving Union flags, others simply overcome with tears. Such is the power of nostalgia. In the years since, she's been everywhere, hauling specials, appearing in exhibitions, starring in documentaries, even inspiring poetry and stamps. In 2023, she turned 100, a centenary marked with coin releases, heritage runs, a tribute poem by Simon Armitage, and heartfelt tributes from across the world of railway preservation. The Royal Mint issued special coins, the Royal Mail brought out commemorative stamps, and the National Railway Museum held events across the country. Her centenary year wasn't just a celebration of an engine, it was a celebration of steam itself. From Doncaster to Perth, from the Forth Bridge to the Rocky Mountains, Flying Scotsman is more than a locomotive. She's a living piece of history, a reminder of the golden age of steam. A machine with a soul, she represents engineering excellence, national identity, and the enduring romance of the railway. And even now, as she prepares for her next contract on Britain's rails, Flying Scotsman continues to capture imaginations the world over. Generations have grown up watching her charge through the countryside, and generations more will too. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible life of number 4472, the Flying Scotsman, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow railway enthusiasts, and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the rails. Thanks for watching, and until next time.